Oh, I love it when I fuck up some things. If you've noticed, these are some late recaps of things that I read many, many moons ago. Hi y'all, this is Jace, she, they, here with Jace Reads Romance for another edition of what I read. It's not January at all. You're gonna see this outfit in a couple of these. I accidentally recorded some of these in slow-mo and without sound, so because that frustrated me, I didn't re-record them for a very long time. That's fine. It's fine. They're books. We totally remember all the things that we read months ago, right? Get your comfy sexy on. Get yourself a beverage. Here's my emotional support water bottle of the day. While I tell you about the books that I read. January 13th through the 19th, I read 4 books. 2 of them were physical. 2 of them were digital books. I was trying to use my iPad for my notes, and it is just too big. It's why I don't read on my iPad. It's just not comfortable. So this is Prince of the Palisades by Julian Winters. Julian was at Love Y'all, and his adult novel hadn't come out yet, or I just got this one from the library first. It is a YA queer romance where we have the point of view character, single point of view. His name is Prince Jadon. He is from an island country off the west coast of Africa, and he's in high school. He has majorly fucked up. He said some things about the prime minister, which honestly, you don't know at the beginning of this story whether or not they were justified or not, but he said some things that got recorded and went viral. So his parents essentially exile him to California, where his mother is from, to attend a private school and rebuild his reputation to be the prince that he wants them to be. This is a queer love story. He meets this boy Reese, and it is loathe to love off the bat. Reese is a filmmaker, and Jadon catches him taking film of a party he's at and immediately accuses him. I get it, I get why, but accuses him of trying to get his 5 minutes of fame by recording him. As you can imagine, that does not go over well with Reese, and the two form a bit of a head buddy relationship. In the school, Jadon is brought under the wing of some friends who are all attending this elite prep school. He joins some clubs, he builds these friendships, and along the way he has to figure out not just how does he fix what he did, but also is what his parents are asking of him fair and in line with what he wants to do with his own image. Does it align with who he wants to be and present himself as to the world? And they acknowledge that not only are there very few black monarchs, but he is a black queer member of royalty. He is always going to have judgment put upon him. And so who does he want to be and how does he want to be in the world is a huge question in this story. One of my favorite things about this tale, it is YA, so there's no on-page spice, is the conversations around consent that Jadon has with Reese. Jadon has had a serious relationship, has had an intimate relationship, and Reese is very inexperienced. And Jadon, from the beginning, makes it very clear to Reese that for him, consent is key. He doesn't even want to kiss Reese until he's gotten consent that level of intimacy is wanted by Reese. Reese at a certain point says, oh my gosh, it's so awkward to have these conversations around sex. It's so unsexy. And Jadon takes him aside and says, no, it is sexy and it's important. And if you don't feel like you can have this conversation with me, well, then we're definitely not going to have sex. And if you feel like the person that you're with in the future is someone that you can't have this conversation with, they do not deserve intimacy with you. And I love that because so often teenagers are told if it's awkward, it's not sexy, it's not worth your time, you shouldn't do it, it will turn your partner off. And these conversations around consent, whether or not you're queer, whether or not you're straight, regardless, are so important to be having so that you're keeping people safe, you're keeping kids safe, you're keeping adults safe. There's so many adults who don't know how to have these conversations around sex and consent and pausing and check-ins. And they love that we got this really clear depiction of a consent conversation between the two of them, not only because it helps us, it can serve as a model for young people or even not young people who are struggling with having those conversations on their own terms. So thank you, Julian, for having that. I'm going through my notes for Prince of the Palisades. This is not a coming out story. He's queer, he's out, he's had a boyfriend publicly before. This is a well-established queer human. This is a great quote. It's just a great line. I ignore the way Lo and Karen are both grinning like their favorite ship just became canon. I love that. You can also feel like the joy and excitement of what that would be like, even if you're not a teenager. Like, do you remember the moment when that relationship in that show or that movie that happened? Oh my God. It's a very visceral feeling. And I feel like that is an expression of experience that even adults can understand. Example of the consent talk. Reese inhales sharply, anticipation burning in his eyes, consent in his dilated pupils. But I don't want to read the signs wrong. Can I kiss you? Yes. Yes, you can. And he does. Here's another moment. I made this weird. Karen warned me, no one talks about sex. It just happens. Talking about it is great. I interrupt, gripping his hand. Sexy. Necessary. I think of it as an adult moment. But 17-year-olds have sex. They do, and they need to be able to have these conversations. The next book is Pardon My Frenchie by Farrah Rochon. This is actually my second Farrah Rochon book, and I love the growth that I see in her as a writer from the first book I read to this book. This was adorable. This is a rom-com of the rummy-commiest. Like, it just is. This story takes place in New Orleans. It is about Ashanti and Thad, who have a terrible meet not cute. They butt heads. Thad is picking up his grandmother's dog from Ashanti's doggie daycare. This dog Puddin has been there because Thad's grandma broke her hip and has been in hospital. Thad is just stressed out and does not make a good impression. Ashanti's dog Duchess and Puddin are besties, and a video of the two of them at daycare go viral. And in order to capitalize on all the free publicity, Ashanti has to enlist Thad's help to deal with all the press engagements, the talk shows, the photo shoots, all of the things. So they're thrust together in these situations where they have to spend time together, and they kind of have to get over the terrible not to meet cute that they had. As they spend time together, the attraction, this chemistry that existed in their minds, if not in their words when they first met, comes to fruition, starts to build and grow. And we watch the two of them build a relationship as they aim to build these new aspects of their life. For Ashanti, it's growing her business, for taking care of her twin sisters, for whom she is the guardian. For Thad, it's building his business from the ground up, dealing with his grandma, being Puddin's owner, and how is he handling life out of the military. He just got out of the military. I should have mentioned that. And the two of them are so sweet and so cute, and the sexual tension is just unfucking bearable. The slow burn is incredibly slow. There's a line, and I'll get to. It's a great little rom-com, black love, single guardian, hijinks ensue, and I adored the pants off of this. There's another one coming out in this series soon, and you better believe I've pre-ordered it. Lines that I loved. There's so much like plot that I had to keep track of. These two spent a lot of this book just in denial of their feelings. When everyone around them is saying, just go for it. Clearly you like each other. And they are just not. They're not about it. Do you see how far into this book this quote happens? Ashanti pulled in a steadying breath and nodded. She took a second to glance in his direction and immediately recognized her error. Looking at him gave him the chance to see what she was desperately trying to hide. The wanting she knew was evident in her eyes. So kicking your feet cute. There are a lot of fun moments, but they get really real with each other. Both of them have life things happen, and we have to watch them deal with it. Ashanti is dealing not just with Puddin, but the growth for business, these side hustles that she has, going viral. What does she want her life to look like? How does she want to pursue different things in her business world? Her sisters are also a handful. They are teenage twin girls. And you watch her try to find the balance between parent who's guiding these children and also sister who is a safe haven for these children. And it's so unfair that she has to be both. but the circumstances of her life require that from her. And the two of them have to find a way to step into each other's lives. She wasn't expecting to date because her focus has been on her business and her sisters. He wasn't expecting to date, and certainly not a woman with parental responsibilities that he is not starting from the ground up with. That was not part of his plan. These moments, this thing between the two of them is such a wrench in the plan for both of them, and that they have to get their bearings again. And once they do, once they come together, they are so supportive and kind to one another. And so while the burn is slow, the emotional support is high. And I think that that is really key and really a beautiful thing to have between the two of them. Stupid slow burn. Stupid slow burn is my note to myself. It's not a terribly spicy book, but this is a great line. No ego stroking necessary for the newly crowned king of Cunnilingus. It's a great line. This is where I'm so annoyed. I read Magic Burns by Ilona Andrews. This is book 2, officially in the Kate Daniels series by Ilona Andrews. And that was a library book, a physical library book. So I don't even have digital notes on this book. For y'all, I thought I had recorded this already. You're going to find a few of those. These first couple novellas, not even novellas, but these first couple books are short, less than 300 pages, mass market paperback style, which I love. There's nothing like holding a mass market paperback in your hands. I truly believe that. This is a slow burn romance series. So we have Kate Daniels, the point of view character of all of the books, unless you're dealing with a side character's book. And we get to watch her be the badass that she is. We still don't know what her powers are at this point. We still don't know her parentage. We know she's in hiding. We know that she has these powers. We know that the circumstances of her life have kept her isolated in the world. Even though she exists in it, even though she, is out and about and knows people, she keeps everyone at arm's length because of this secret that she's holding. In this story, there is Norse mythology. There are weird mermaid things. She has to protect a young girl who comes under her protection named Jessie. Jessie has some power. Her power is that she can see magic and what type of magic it is. And we get a little moment where Kate is trying to hide Jessie from these blind creatures who can sense magic. Kate says to Jessie, "Can you just hide in my aura, disguise yourself as my magic?" And Jessie goes, "I can't. Your magic is too strange. It's too weird." And so we're getting these little tidbits of why Kate is isolated, what she's on the run from, and what she might be a part of big picture. It is very clear in this book that Curran is going to become the love interest. Curran is the king or the leader of the shifters, which are all animal shifters, fall under this pack that he runs. It's over 1,000 people that he is in charge of. He's young, he's very alpha, very territorial, and Kate and Curran butt heads and have to work together and also work against each other in this story. But their flirting game intensifies in this book. In the first book, they met. They hadn't met each other before that. But in this book, the flirting and the banter intensify. And so I was really excited to see that. Even though there is no burn, I feel like it will pay dividends in the future. And so that was Magic Burns. The last book that I read was The Moon and His Tides by Gianna Darling. I read this as an ARC in advance of its release date, but it has since been released. This book will rip your heart out. It is the first book in a series, but it's not a series of interconnected standalones. It's a series that follows this one group of humans. It is a polyamorous book. It is a poly book, MMF, by awakening, marriage in crisis, age gap, reverse age gap, all the things. So, and I'm like not kidding you, I legitimately was in tears at the end of this book. So if you are someone who is very triggered by cliffhanger / unhappy endings, I know that we're going to get one because it's a romance, but it's not at the end of this book, let me tell you. All right, we've got Sebastian, who is the first point of view character we have. He is 18, from Italy, in London, working as a driver for a limousine limousine company and there to be an actor. He is acting in a play, he has a screenplay, and one day his new client in his car is Savannah. Savannah is the wife of a very well-known movie star named Adam. And Sebastian is incredibly attracted to Savannah. And Savannah starts to request him as her driver. They develop a banter, a slight rapport, sees his screenplay, which he was working on in the front seat, and she insists on reading it. They have an, I was going to say interlude, but I don't know if that's a steamy moment where they don't touch, but they just like flirt real hard and some inappropriate stuff happens, especially if you're talking about a married woman and her driver. And then Adam shows up at his show, and Sebastian thinks he's about to get the crap beat out of him by Adam. But Adam goes, no, I need you to come out in the alleyway with me. Sebastian thinks, oh no, this is the end. This is how I die. Nope. Adam invites him into their limo. Privacy screen, thank you very much. And the three of them get it on. At the end, Adam invites Sebastian to move in with them. He'll live in his own little house on their property and he'll officially be their driver, but unofficially, he is their boyfriend, and they loved his screenplay so much that they're going to help him get it made into a movie. So we watch this relationship develop over months, not just intimately. It's so spicy. It's so spicy. So not just spice-wise with this couple, with this trio of humans as Sebastian and Adam top Savannah, but also as Sebastian kind of reckons with his own attraction to Adam, the first man he's ever been attracted to. How is this going to work? But also as they introduce him to industry people, and how does the film work, and how does publicity work, and how do you get things produced and made, and this and that. And we watch Sebastian fall in love with these two humans. And the most interesting part about this is the only point of views we get are Sebastian and Adam. We never get Savannah. She is not a point of view character in this book at all. As I said, this book ends on a cliffhanger, a gut-wrenching cliffhanger. So if you are not ready for that, I might wait until later books in this series come out, because if you're like me, I don't like not knowing when I'm going to get my answer. I don't like that waiting game. Unfortunately, I thought this was going to be interconnected standalones and not a full-blown series, so I suffered. You don't have to suffer if you don't want to, but it is an incredible book. Unfortunately, I can't share quotes from this book because I have all of my notes in the ARC, and I don't know officially with that. I haven't compared it yet to the actual book to know if the quotes are in there. Feels like you're going to have to go read that for yourself. And that's what I read from January 13th through 19th of this year. I hope that you enjoyed my little recap. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of this. Let me know in the comments what you read, either the week that you watched this or that week in 2025. Until next time, this is Jace holding space for you.